Hey everyone, Mike Wolf here. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. And today we've got a really special guest. Her name is Laura Ledoux, and I'm going to read her bio to you here. Laura has over a decade of experience working with small business owners. Through her work, Laura discovered that most business owners are discouraged and dissatisfied with the legal industry. So after over a decade of practicing law traditionally, Laura set herself apart as a legal partner for businesses so she can empower them to expand and grow and live outside the constraints of the formal legal system. Laura positions businesses to thrive and move forward through creative legal strategies, strategic alliances, and joint ventures. So Laura's background in law, combined with her passion for helping people, create a unique combination that allows her to deeply connect and understand how to best help her clients' businesses thrive. Laura studied law at Loyola University in New Orleans, and she earned her LLM in real estate law at the John Marshall Law School in Chicago. Laura's past clients include the City of Chicago, the University of Illinois, Department of Aviation, University of Chicago, and other municipalities in and around the Chicago area. Laura resides in Southern California and is licensed to practice law in Louisiana and Illinois. So first of all, welcome, Laura. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very honored.
Oh, it's good to have you. And how's your day going so far?
It's a beautiful, hot day here in Southern California.
That's a typical day in Southern California. It's not quite always the same here in Canada. So
yeah, we've got like 70-mile-an-hour winds here today, so it's not quite typical, but it's definitely hot.
Okay, well, there you go. You can have that wind. So anyway, thanks again for being here. And so I guess one of my first questions is, how did you transition? Obviously, being a lawyer, there's a lot of education involved in that. There's a lot of expense in getting that law degree. And so what made you decide to go from being a lawyer to the entrepreneurial world and taking that plunge? Because that's a big plunge.
Well, I'm actually sort of what they call a serial entrepreneur. I was in business for myself actually when I started law school. I was a graphic designer, so I have sort of a diverse background in arts and other things. But I went to law school and I practiced law in New Orleans for a year. I did civil rights work in real estate there. And then I moved to Chicago to get an LLM, which is a one-year concentration after law school, and my LLM is in real estate. And while I was there, I ended up working for a private law firm representing the City of Chicago, the Department of Aviation, the University of Illinois, other different, public entities in and throughout Chicago. And I did that for a while, and then I ended up opening my own law practice where I focused on small business owners, helping them get their businesses off the ground, setting up a corporation or an LLC, helping them negotiate lease space for whatever they were doing, and then just helping them as their businesses went forward and grew with employment things, trademarks, copyrights, other ways of protecting their intellectual property. And so when I moved back to my home state of California in 2008, I kind of took a different path. I did some attorney recruiting for a while because I wasn't licensed here and I had chosen not to take the bar exam and get licensed here. And then I started consulting for some litigation firms because I also had a background in litigation from New Orleans and Chicago. And it ultimately led me back to my passion, which is really helping small business owners. I love working with small business owners because they share my same type of vision and I love the entrepreneurial spirit. Additionally, because small business owners are the driving force of the economy, especially here in the United States, I feel really compelled to assist them in impacting that as much as they can, sort of allowing them to delegate their kryptonite, so to speak, which for most small business owners, the legal stuff is kryptonite. So they can delegate that to me, and I can work on that type of stuff so they can just go and be passionate and serve their clients and get out there and live their vision.
Well, I think that's a great and essential service because many entrepreneurs, they're really good at what they do and they have their thing that they're really good at, but most of them don't want to deal with the legal issues. They don't know how. Matter of fact, some of them don't even think about that. They just kind of, hit the ground running, get started, and they don't realize that there's a whole bunch of potential liability issues and there's just so many things that could potentially go wrong, and they just don't think about it. They just take action, which is sometimes a good thing because you don't want to be stuck. You definitely want to take action, but you also have to cover your butt too, right?
Absolutely. Taking the right action is imperative.
Exactly, and I know being a real estate investor myself, I know a ton of different lawyers, and most of them end up burning out. Most of them end up, after time, wishing that they had uh, done something different. And I actually, at one point in my life, wanted to be a lawyer too. And fortunately, I didn't end up down that path. No offense to any lawyers, but in any case, I think you may have made a good decision from what I see, from the side that I see, and that's all these lawyers that, they invest all this money and time into their education. They feel bad. They don't want to walk away from it. But on the other hand, that they get kind of stuck in that rut and they don't really seem to enjoy it and have the passion for it anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. I've seen that with a lot of colleagues, and I mean, even some within the first year of being out of law school, they're just completely disillusioned with the practice, and they're moving on to something else. So it can be very, very, very disheartening to be in the practice of law. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do is start to change the legal industry from the inside out through my work with small business owners, because as I said, they are the driving force of the economy. They think differently than most of the rest of the world, and so that's part of my passion, is to start to effectuate change, to change their relationship with the legal industry, get them out of that formal, put out a fire, piecemeal way of working with an attorney of, oh, let me set up your corporation over here, and then a few months later do an employment agreement. I get into the trenches with my clients and work side by side with them day by day, so that I can understand everything that they're going through, help them take that blindfold off and see what they don't know that they don't know, which I call a blind spot, and help them to strategize so that they're not only avoiding legal problems, but that the legal aspects of their business are actually opening things up for them, allowing them to expand their businesses and to propel them forward.
Absolutely, yeah, and as I said earlier, definitely an essential service that a lot of people don't think about, and a lot of people also, when they're first starting up, they don't even have the money to hire a lawyer. So that puts you in a really good spot where you can help them, but not have to charge the same fees that a regular law firm might charge, right?
Right, and thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I have different packages that they can pay on a monthly basis that most entrepreneurs can afford, because they're less than the cost of a part-time employee for, and the most basic one is usually affordable for most entrepreneurs.
So say like similar to Starbucks pricing kind of thing. Well, cheaper than the coffee probably. So.
Well, I guess it depends on the level of your Starbucks habit.
Exactly. Well, I drink tea, so I'm really cheap date at Starbucks, but I know some people that have probably Starbucks bills bigger than most lawyer bills, so it's not good.
Yeah, I know. I've known people that are spending like $20 a day at Starbucks. Like, wow.
That's crazy. So anyway, I don't own a Starbucks. I'm not going to promote them anymore. But let me ask you this. So you bill yourself as being a legal business coach. So what exactly how would you define that, I guess, and what sort of services can you provide?
Well, as a legal business coach, I work with my clients on a day-by-day basis. So, and really almost more like an in-house counsel, almost like I'm a part of their team, and they're outsourcing their legal stuff to me. So depending on the level of the package that I'm working with them, the most basic package includes a weekly group coaching call where I give 20 to 25 minutes of content. Like today I talked about the art of negotiation. Next week I'm talking about strategic alliances and joint ventures. So things that can help them. I'll be talking about intellectual property, how to protect yourself on your website, and different things like that as we're moving forward. So the most basic package, they would get involved in that weekly phone call. And so that just gives them a taste of the types of things that they need to be aware of so that they do know what kind of blind spots are coming up, basic things that they can do to protect themselves. And then the next level beyond that is including the weekly coaching call, and then also having some specific, time in a group setting where there's actually coaching going on to a group. And then as they level up and they want more from me, they can start adding one-on-one coaching time with me and that type of thing. So obviously with the group coaching calls, that's a group format. You get the benefit of the other people's questions and the coaching that's happening with them. So you can take that away from the phone call as well as whatever you're specifically asking to be coached on. And then with the one-on-one coaching, I am working directly with the business owner, helping them understand what it is that they need to do, implementing agreements. And I do have licensed attorneys here in California and throughout the country that I work with to help me draft those agreements and that type of thing, whatever it is that they're doing. And actually, you don't need a law license to draft agreements or do trademarks and copyrights, but I prefer to work having a licensed attorney behind me in the states that I'm not licensed in. And then in the event a client gets sued or something like that and they need a litigation attorney, I act as a liaison between my client and the litigation attorney. And what that does is it actually reduces their expense with the litigation attorney, because I am already familiar with their business, and furthermore, I'm familiar with litigation. So I can bridge that gap and get them ready for litigation at much less expense than it would be if they had to go from start to finish with the litigation attorney. And in addition, because I'm so involved and understand the ins and outs of their business, I'm providing a much higher level of what that litigation attorney needs. So there's a lot of different aspects, and like I said, it's really dependent upon which packaging the client is looking for and what their needs and budget allows them to have at a particular moment. And most of my clients start out, do start out at a lower level, end up upgrading, as soon as their budget allows, because they see the value.
Right, right. Well, I really like the part you said where you could benefit from other people's questions in the group too, because a lot of these people probably have the same issues, the same questions, especially if they're all, especially if a lot of these people are just starting up something new. They're all going to face the same challenges, and so it obviously keeps the cost down if you're all sharing information as well. And I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely. And then they develop relationships with other entrepreneurs, and they can, get together outside of the coaching calls and that type of thing.
Right, exactly. Because normally if you hire a lawyer and you're dealing with a lawyer one-on-one, they have that client, you have that relationship with the client where you can't disclose. You can't say, well, I told this, I taught this other person this. So you just call them and I'll save you the X number of $100 an hour. That's not going to happen. So it's I see a lot of value in having that coaching call, which wouldn't happen in traditional lawyer settings.
Absolutely true.
So without I don't want to steal all your trade secrets, because you got to save something for your coaching, but what would be the one thing that you would share for somebody who maybe an entrepreneur listening in right now, just thinking of starting up a new venture? What would be the one thing that they need to know most before they jump in?
I believe that the best thing for them to know is really, what do they need to protect if they're first starting out? And even established business owners, a lot of times that I start working with, I wish that I had gotten together with them at the beginning of their business, because I could have prevented a lot of damage, a lot of wasted money, wasted time, wasted energy. But when businesses are just starting out, they have a golden opportunity to start out right. Like I said a few minutes ago, it's all about taking right action. So when you start up a business, you need to analyze from a legal perspective, what assets do you have? What assets do you need to protect? How is it that you can protect those? What in your business is coming up that you may not even know exposes you legally? What do you need to do with respect to setting up a website from a legal perspective? What types of agreements do you need to have in place with that? For example, I had a client who had a website set up, and her website designer put a copyrighted image on her website, and she got sued to the tune of $30,000. Well, because she didn't have anybody advising her at the beginning of her business, and when she set this website up, she had no agreement in place with the website designer. And of course, after this lawsuit was filed, she had trouble finding the website designer again. And so even if she was ultimately exonerated of putting the copyrighted photo on there and she wasn't on the hook for $30,000, she still had to take time away from her business to defend the lawsuit. She had to pay an attorney to go to court for her. And so it was very costly, where if she had an agreement in place, she could have just gone in and said, hey, here's the agreement that I had with this person, and get herself off the hook much more quickly and easily. And the other aspect of making sure that you're doing damage control and understanding where you're legally exposed and what blind spots you may have in that regard is not just the impact on your bottom line insofar as your financial aspect, but also the impact on your reputation. Are you going to end up losing clients because of this? Are you going to end up impacting your reputation, having people saying things about you, and that type of thing. So there's a lot of things that people need to think about. And, you know, how do you, if you have a family, if you have a family home, if you have personal retirement funds or things like that, those are things that you definitely need to consider protecting when you're setting up your business. And also the other aspect of it is, what type of business do you have? Some businesses have more exposure to liability. If you have a storefront where you're going to have people coming in and walking around, and the potential for slips and falls and on-site injuries, obviously your liability is a little bit greater than if you're a home-based business and you're not really seeing clients in your home. So those are the types of consultations that I do initially with my clients to help them understand what it is that they need to protect, how they can protect it, and what would be the best package for them to work with me moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess the key to that really is that for a lot of people, you know, they unfortunately don't find out till it's too late. And as you mentioned earlier, you have these blind spots, and so it's really advisable to kind of get at least a little bit of help before you get started, just so you find out some of the things that could go wrong and protect yourself against it, so you don't have some of these issues that you just mentioned.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what would be, I guess, obviously the goal is for you to, obviously there's a fee for what you do, but at the end of the day, you could potentially save people a whole lot of money. And so what will be some of the biggest benefits to somebody's bottom line to use your service as opposed to just kind of winging it and praying, I guess?
That's a good question, Mike. Thank you. One of the biggest benefits is having peace of mind, not having to put the blindfold on regarding the legal aspects of your business, knowing that you've got an advocate by your side protecting you, forecasting for you, strategizing for you, looking at areas where you're exposed and making sure that those areas are covered. Having access to somebody like me that has a legal background that can coach you and advise you as to how you can move forward, how you can expand your business, in addition to just protecting your bottom line, protecting your reputation, and preventing damage before it starts. So when you look at my pricing structure, and like I said, I'm less than the cost of a part-time employee for my platinum package, it's usually affordable for most people, and they're going to see an immediate return on their investment, because their bottom line is going to be impacted immediately. Just by having that peace of mind is going to allow them to be more productive, to get out there and service more clients, to find more clients, to be more present in their business, and saving them, you know, like the client that was sued for the website for $30,000, you know, saving them that hassle right there would pay for my platinum package for a year.
Oh, exactly. Well, it's that old adage that, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure, right? So
Absolutely.
exact same thing. So let me ask you this. This show is obviously called Making a Difference. What are some of the things you want to do to make a difference with either through your business or personally, or what have you done, or what do you want to do? What would you change in this world if you could? Totally changing the topic here for you.
That's fine. Well, like I talked about earlier, one of my visions is to actually change the legal industry from the inside out. So as I move forward in this business and impact the lives of small business owners one by one, that is going to have a ripple effect out into the legal industry. It's going to start to redefine the way that small business owners interact with the legal industry. And I see a vision ultimately of expanding this business nationwide, maybe through franchising or something like that, to allow this to really be available to everyone. Because obviously I'm just one person, and even though I have a team of people helping me, I can't do it myself nationwide. So I would love to open that up to other attorneys, like you mentioned, that aren't happy with the practice of law in the traditional way, to give them another opportunity to still use their background and their education, but in a way that might serve them better, which whenever we serve ourselves better, we're serving our clients better, and we're serving the world better. So my global vision is really just to change the legal industry from the inside out and make it more friendly, more approachable, more integrated, so that people feel comfortable and they don't have that, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with the legal stuff, and putting the blindfold on, to make it available and open to everybody so that they can feel comfortable utilizing the legal system to expand their business instead of constrain themselves.
Oh, I like the way you think. It's a big undertaking, but I think it's something that is probably going to become necessary because, I mean, legal industry, people in general don't seem to be too thrilled with it, and even people within the industry aren't too thrilled with it. So I think it needs some kind of revamping. So I wish you luck on that part of the venture. So let me ask you this: now that you're kind of on the entrepreneurial side of things, you went from lawyer to now being an entrepreneur and business owner. Who inspired you? Did you have somebody, a book, or maybe a certain person that kind of helped you make that transition?
My father. He's still an entrepreneur. He's almost 80 years old, and he's still working his business. He's actually trying to sell it right now, finally. But I grew up with that. He worked from home for many of the years that I was growing up. You know, he had offices at times too, but he always did a portion of his business from home. So I was always exposed to that and listening to him on the phone because he still, to this day, likes to conduct all of his business on speakerphone, which at the time annoyed me. But I was like, now later on, I was like, wow, what a great education I got just from hearing all those conversations my whole life. And just seeing his passion for having his own business, and he also taught marketing and small business administration at one of the local colleges here in Southern California, which I teach business law now, so I guess I followed in my dad's footsteps in a lot of ways. But just seeing his passion, seeing the freedom that it gave him, and just how much joy it brought him to have his own business, the impact that he had on his customers' lives and needs, and his customers were also business owners, so the impact that he had on their businesses, selling them warehouse equipment and making their operations more efficient so that he impacted their bottom line.
Oh, very cool. It's kind of funny how we start off making fun of our parents, and as we get older, we become more and more like them. That seems to happen. I can definitely relate to that in some ways. So another question for you. We're running out of time here. I just want to ask you this. So if you had one message that you could share with the universe right now and the rest of the world, what would that message be?
Wow, that's a big subject.
I know. We like to put you on the spot, not give you any time to think about it, and just put you on the spot.
Just to know your vision, to own your vision, and to live passionately, because we only have one shot at this lifetime, and make it the best one that you can.
Great message, especially for spur of the moment, but that's how you usually come up with your best messages, because you don't have time to think about it, so you actually say what's there, and it's usually more authentic. So thanks for sharing that. So if somebody or many somebodies who are listening right now want to find out more about your coaching program or get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
They can visit my website, which is lauraledoux.com. That's LauraleDoux.com. They can also email me telling me that they watched this interview, and I will send them a copy of my free action guide called Cover Your Assets, which is an action guide for small business owners. And they can email me at lauraledoux.com. And then I'm old school. I like to talk on the phone, so feel free to call me, 714-470-6782. And for all you international folks, that phone number is in Orange, California. So bear that in mind if you're trying to get in touch with me from out of the country.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much for sharing with us today, Laura. It was great to have you on board, and it's always good to get some good advice. And a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of entrepreneurs, they tend to jump in without thinking about some of the legal aspects, and it's so important. You know, you don't want to find out too late about, you don't want to find out that you've created a problem after it's too late. It's a lot easier to set up properly to begin with. So I think that's some great advice.
Absolutely, I agree.
And so, anyway, I look forward to having you back here on the show again. And thanks again for being here. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thanks again, Laura.
Thank you, Mike.